These are times of great anxiety, not just the financial crisis and the economic downturn, but also the cost of living, great social problems. I know how worried people are. They want to know whether our politics, and let's be frank, whether our politicians are really up to it. And in the end, that's not really about your policies and your plans. Of course, your plans are important, but it's the unexpected and the unpredicted events that can dominate your government. So people want to know what values you bring to the big situations and the big decisions that can crop up on your watch. And people want to know about your character, the way you make decisions, the way you operate. My values are conservative values. Many people wrongly believe that the Conservative Party is just about freedom. Of course, we care passionately about freedom from oppression and from state control. That is why we stood up for Georgia, and wasn't it great to have the Georgian Prime Minister here today making that speech? But freedom can too easily turn into the idea that we all have the right to do whatever we want, regardless of the effect on others. That is not conservative, that is libertarian, and that is certainly not me. For me, the most important word is responsibility. Personal responsibility, professional responsibility, civic responsibility, and corporate responsibility. Our responsibilities to our families, to our neighborhood, to our country. Our responsibility to behave in a decent and civilized way, to help others. To me, that is what this party has always been about. Every big decision, every big judgment I make, I ask some very simple questions. Does this encourage responsibility? Does it discourage irresponsibility? Will this make us a more responsible society? Because it is that belief in social responsibility, not state control, because we know we will only be a strong society if we are a responsible society. But when it comes to handling a crisis, when it comes to really making a difference on the big issues, it's not just about your values. There's something else that people want to know. When people ask, will you make a difference? They're really asking, will you, i.e. me, will you make a difference? Now, you cannot prove you are ready to be Prime Minister. It would be arrogant to pretend you can. The best you can do is tell people who you are, the way you work, how you make decisions, and then how you live with them. I'm a 41-year-old father of 3, and for me, family is the most important thing there is. For me, for my country. I'm deeply patriotic about this country. I think we have an incredible past, but also an amazing future. I believe passionately in the union of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. And to people sometimes people say to me, it might be easier for you if you weren't so passionate about the union. But you know what? I don't want to be Prime Minister of England. I want to be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I have a simple view that public service is a good way to channel your energy and try and make a difference. I'm not an ideologue. I know that my party can get it wrong, and I know that sometimes other parties get it right. I hold to some simple principles: strong defence, the rule of law, sound money. These are the foundations of good government. But I'm also a child of my time. I want a clean environment as well as a safe one. I believe that quality of life matters as well as quantity of money. I recognise that we will never be truly rich while so much of the world is poor. I believe in building a really strong team and then in trusting them. And when they succeed, that is a good thing, it's not a threat. Thinking before deciding is good. Not deciding because you don't like the consequences of making a decision is bad. Trust your principles, trust your judgment, trust the colleagues that you appoint. Go with your conviction, not calculation. The popular thing, it might look good for a while, but the right thing will always be right. Tony Blair used to justify the endless short-term measures by saying we live in a 24-hour media world. But this is a country, not a television channel. A good government thinks for the long term, and if we win, we will inherit a huge deficit and an economy in a mess. We will need to do difficult and unpopular things for the long-term good of our country. I know that, and I am ready for that. And there is a big argument I want to make about the financial crisis, about the economic downturn, yes, but about other issues facing the country too. It is an argument about experience. To do difficult things for the long term, or even to get us through the financial crisis in the short term, what matters more than experience is character and judgment, and what you really believe needs to happen to make things right. Let me tell you what I believe. I believe that to rebuild our economy, it's not going to take more of the same, it's going to take change. I believe that to repair our broken society, we don't need more of the same, we need change. Experience is the excuse of the incumbent down the ages. Experience is what they always say when they want to stop change. In 1979, James Callaghan had been Home Secretary, Foreign Secretary, Chancellor, and then Prime Minister. But thank God we swapped him for Margaret Thatcher. Just think about it. If we really listened to this argument about experience, we would never change a government, ever. We would have, wait for it, we'd have Gordon Brown as Prime Minister forever. I'm not going to go on. There are people in balconies up there.